Okay, hello. How are we all? I'm just happy to be out of that bus. Got to work on the AC and the electric bus. All right, so welcome to the 32nd annual Equipment and Fleet Show. Who here has been to every one of them, other than Steve Levy? This is hosted by NYC Parks and by DCAS. This is the 10th show that DCAS has organized, the 15th that Daniel Shinkrantz has put together. Where is Daniel? Give him a hand. He is our IT manager. He is not our events manager, but he's put all this together for a long time. I think I've been doing this for 23 years, so I gotta figure out what I'm doing with my life at some point. We missed you last year, and we have a lot to catch up on. And I think some of that's been said, but I've been doing this. This is my home event, so I'm going to talk for a little bit. Before we start, I want to recognize some key partners. First, Ben Furnas. Give me a hand. He's the director of the Mayor's Office of Climate and Sustainability for 8 years. Mostly behind the scenes, now more publicly. Ben has been the absolute rock in the Mayor's Office upon which everything we've been trying to do in sustainability, in safety, in efficiency, just to get through every day has relied. I have done this thing, as you know now, for 28 years, and there's a very short list of the best public servants I have ever encountered, and he is very high up on that list. I just want to thank you for that. And he is the nicest fellow. And not everyone in the fleet world, maybe I would say that, but I would say it, but I wouldn't be thinking it. I also want to mention Jen Robertson from the Mayor's Office of Sustainability and his whole staff. Jen, who we work with. I want to acknowledge our DCAS Commissioner, Lisette Camillo, who is here and who has embraced the fleet program like very few ever have at DCAS and knows more about this thing going on here than maybe she wants to know, but listens and has helped us advance this cause tremendously. I want to thank, if she's still here, the new Parks Commissioner, Margaret Nelson, who was here earlier. I'm not sure if she's still here. But as you all know, I am a Parkie at heart. I'm still the blind copy on most emails within the Parks Department. And Margaret has delivered 152 new hybrid electric vehicles to parks in 3 weeks. So on that pace, you'll have an all-new fleet very soon. I also want to mention, if she's still here, Mercida Ibrick, who is our Deputy Commissioner for Procurement. The fleet program could not do anything without two groups, the Office of Management and Budget and the Office of Procurement. All of you are trying to sell to us and are selling to us. You do so through Mercida. So be nice to her, hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever, within the ethical rules. I don't think she's here, but I want to thank everyone at Parks, and I especially want to thank Janice Melnick, who is the Park Administrator for Flushing Meadow Park, someone I've worked with quite literally from the first day I showed up in the early 90s. And if she was here, I was going to say a joke that she's been with Parks forever, and I know she will never leave. And the reason for that joke is something she'll talk about in this very spot tomorrow. Speaking of leaving, I am sad to report that John Ells, our Director of Fleet Sustainability for DCAS, has moved on after 20 years. So much of what we're doing here today, John helped put together, but he's in environmental consulting. He's still part of our world. Apparently, we cannot compete with a full-time remote gig, so I want to recognize our partners for today's event, including Joy Gardner, the Executive Director of Empire Clean Cities, who had their excellent event this morning. Sarah Houde from Propulsion Quebec, and we have a nice partnership with Quebec. We were there 2 years ago. I think we're live casting now, and that's what these guys are doing. Very exciting stuff. I want to thank Benoit Charrette, the Minister of the Environment and Fight Against Climate Change for Quebec, who's partnered in our show. We had a great event yesterday. We're going to be doing some programming in a few hours. And as you probably already mentioned, I'm sure you did, DCAS, the other part of DCAS, the less fun side, did an announcement on clean hydropower for all of city government operations. A great announcement, that got all the applause yesterday, and then everyone just ignored my stuff. I want to thank Representative partnerships in the cities of Cambridge and Pittsburgh, Cambridge, Mass, my old hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my sister's hometown, are here today. So thank you for showing up. There you go. There's Cambridge, you know, my once and future home, I suspect. I want to thank the Health and Hospitals Corporation for having the vaccine and testing bus here today. The mayor mentioned that on the press announcement earlier. Vaccines and testing are free. I want to thank the New York State Department of Health, who's here with us today, and for all their extraordinary work in this unbelievable time period. I also want to recognize, you know, for a moment, all the mechanics, the supervisor mechanics, the fleet staff, the city staff, who have given their lives in the last year and a half to serve this city in this extraordinarily difficult time. I want to mention two people, of course, particularly our fleet safety director, Lennon Fierro, who lost his life in March to COVID. I also want to mention someone you all don't know but should, Robert Gilliam, a deputy sheriff, who's one of our great partners for a long time and who is battling today. And so we are thinking about you, Robert. We're going to try and go visit you soon. I want to thank all our agency partners, NYPD, FDNY, Corrections, Sanitation, DOT, DEP, NYCHA, the MTA who's here. So I also, before I get to kind of talk about what we're announcing, I also want to introduce you to BioBus. Woo! BioBus. I met them on one of these, like, you know, calls I was doing with my alma mater, and a nonprofit located in Brooklyn on working on sustainable education. Go see their labs, their microscopes. They can see through you, quite literally. If we are going to actually move forward in climate change together, which is what we require, it's going to require education at every level, ideally starting young, and BioBus is here, there they are, to help do that. And, you know, if we do not do that, if we are a splintered society on climate change, like COVID, we will not get there. So the education, the explaining that these things work, that they're better, that they are actually pretty seamless. You know, there's a nostalgia in America for the private automobile. There is no nostalgia for the gas station experience. We can make this change. Okay, finally and most importantly, I want to thank Mayor de Blasio, who led off today with a big announcement, and I know Ben mentioned it, $75 million in new investments. Some of the highlights, 275 more fast chargers, adding on to the 100 that we have in place, 90 now, a few more are being put in place. I want to mention Brent Taylor, who has taken the leadership of this thing. 2 years ago, we had 0 fast chargers operating in the city of New York. Now we've got 100. Soon we will be a town fleet, because that's still what we are, a town fleet, with 375 fast chargers, over 1,070, probably at that point about 1,500 total chargers. A real amazing progress. We're going to add more portable chargers, solar carports. We are going to do our first repowering, which will light up some people in this group, because there are some repowering companies here. We are going to repower 125 trucks. Take old diesel trucks and make them electric and new, and do it now. With the support of OMB, we're also going to order a generation of new electric vehicles. And there's a number, but I don't want to mention it because it's going to go up. It's going to go up really soon, but it's a big number already, and it's going to go up a real lot. I want to show you something. Here's the future of fleet, and the last time I was with you in 2019, I could not have done this. There's an all-electric Port Authority bus. There's an all-electric school bus. There's an all-electric garbage truck. There's an all-electric and very nice police car. And there's an all-electric and hybrid fire department ambulance. That is the future of the major fleets that operate in this city every day supporting New Yorkers. We have them now, we just have to scale them up, which will take a bit, but scale them up. So give that a big hand. I do want to mention that with the order announced today, some of these are a little newer. Yeah, it can take us a little time on police and sanitation. With the order today, when the next order comes in, every single fire department ambulance will be a hybrid and plug-in eligible ambulance already today. So about a year from now, hopefully we'll have the last one to show up through the doors. I want to thank and recognize our Fleet Chief of Staff, Sherry Lee, our Director of Vehicle Acquisitions, Tamika Johnson, and our Director of Fleet Procurement, Masha Rudina, who in the last 8 years, every year, have processed and managed $300 million of acquisitions and 3,000 vehicles. Not 1 year or not over 8 years, every single year for 8 years. We have spent $2.4 billion just buying cars and trucks, which explains why you all are all here, while nobody's leaving, because it's a lot of money. But I want to thank them because it's really amazing work. Give them a hand. And they are behind the scenes, but they are the scene of this show. And just a few facts to leave you with on where we are today and where we're going to be. In fiscal year 14, the average fuel economy for our new light-duty vehicles, our federal CAFE standard, and we're required to report it by law, was 51 miles a gallon. Which is not bad. This year is 102 miles per gallon, and it has been over 100 for 4 years. So anyone who says you cannot increase the CAFE standards of this country, come here. And we do not buy specially designed government special vehicles. We buy from companies you might have heard, like Ford and Toyota and GM and Chrysler. You know, everybody can buy these vehicles. You just have to choose to do so. In fiscal year 14, we used 28.1 million gallons of fossil fuel for fleet. In fiscal year 21, we used 4 million gallons less. Sorry, Steve. I'm trying to get you here only as a guest and not a vendor. 14% less. Or if the dollars are more interesting, in fiscal year 14, we spent $94 million on fleet fuel. This year, we spent 50. So, you know. As of today, we operate 3,135 plug-in fleet units on and off-road and 1,071 charging ports. Those are both the largest programs in New York State. We operate 89 solar carports, although a couple of them IDA didn't help. The largest network in the world. We operate 19,532 vehicles on some type of alternative fuel. We believe that to be the largest alternative fuel fleet in North America. If you know of another one, tell us. Under Mayor de Blasio, we pledged to cut fuel use 50% by 2025. We're going to get there. We are going to go to an all-electric fleet. We're going to implement more hybrids and biofuels until we do this. Finally, I do want to mention, we're here to talk sustainability, but under Mayor de Blasio, we've had enormous investment in safety through Vision Zero, 63,000 fleet improvements, truck side guards here today, telematics here today, backup cameras, driver alerts, all here today, our truck surround camera project. I want to thank Eric Richardson, who has done an incredible job. Give him a hand. He's a wonderful guy too. He is an IT leader who is also your deputy fleet chief, showing that IT and vehicles are coming together. And tomorrow, in partnership with Together for Safer Roads, and I think TSR is here, we're going to talk about our 8-year Vision Zero achievements, which are really tremendous. Finally, I want to thank the 2,000 full-time staff in Fleet Services, our talented team of mechanics and supervisor mechanics. You know, this show is getting a little she, but it used to be and was meant to be a blue-collar show. It was meant to be for all our staff. It still is for all our staff, so please hang out, eat, have fun. We support nearly 80,000 fleet operators, 180 million miles a year in this city, 24/7, to keep this city safe, clean, and livable. And then finally, I want to thank all our vendors who are here. We got great weather. I hope, obviously we can't do anything on any subject unless you provide us the vehicles, the fuel, the products that are safe and sustainable and reliable and better. So thank you for being here. Talk to everyone. Some people here cut a lot of checks, so get to know them. And the weather turned out great. This event turned out great. Thank you all very much.